What's up, y'all? So, I'm doing this video today, and I'm going over some of these groups that are in different apps. I go to some of them that are very smart, like astronomic and astral projection and quantum physics, and I finally found some YouTube videos that show meaning towards all the symbols and whatnot, like frequency. I didn't know which one that was because all these symbols are simple, but you have to get them memorized. And I've never tried quantum physics in the forum formula. I've only drawn pictures that make so much sense as I explain them. And I do my literature because my third and fourth grade teacher was amazing. And, after she passed or after I graduated or not graduated, moved up from grade, I was a little bit mad at her, thought I was going to stay at that school, went to another school, had some little issues of, being elementary, thinking no one wanted you type of stuff. So I'm glad that I always get to say, Miss Coots, God bless you and rest in peace, because I am 34 years old, and she was an older lady. But one thing that bothers me about these groups that are so scientifically brilliant and educated and all that is some of them don't want you to say anything like, oh, God's great creation or anything. And that's very wrong. I mean, when you're talking about God, you're not talking about religion. Everybody has come to this demonic stage in life where you're in a prison if you talk about religion. It's like, oh, you're setting yourself up for failure. Religion is not really the meaning of God or spirituality, or it's a right of placement, placement of origin. And we all were created by this thing called evolution, which is before, present, and after, time, space, narration and duration. So really, people have been ignoring the fusion and forgetting the vision, if that makes sense to you. It makes sense to me. And God bless if it doesn't, or if it takes years and you're like, I finally get it. Because when we're in a premature stage, even though some of us are older, some of us are still in that stage if you weren't educated right. Just like a computer that's old, you have to upgrade it. You have to, synchronize some documents, some things just to make it smarter. And when you do that in a certain sense of keeping it smart but slow, like only to, download a hard drive instead of actually accessing internet, you know what I mean? Or, stuff like that, you stay in the darkness. You're in a that stage. So it really sucks that people can be younger and older, but they're going to be looking at science as if that's completely different from spirit. And when I noticed that somebody talking about God has nothing to do with this as far as eclipse and everything, I wrote away, I even did like the voice thingy, like boop, this and that, blah, blah, blah. So that way it doesn't mess up my words. And then I look at it. When I wasn't looking at it, the computer was starting to mess with me again. It was like, oh, he's not paying attention. The AI in the phones was like, he's not paying attention. Mess up his words. And I reread it, and there's like a huge chunk missing, like a sentence or two, or half a sentence, and it's a long sentence, or like a word is written terribly on purpose. Instead of saying that's very, very amazing and beautiful, I'll look back and the message will say like, oh, that's very not interesting and pitiful, and it's like, those are two complete different words, yet how did the computer do that? It's very freaky. But when it comes to somebody trying to tell me that there's like Israelites, which that was very possible, the reptilian, the Illuminati, the humanoids, all of these different breeds that made man or mixed with mankind, that's not a big issue as far as it already being evolutionized, like evolved, like right now where we're at. You know, I see somebody that probably has more reptilian in them or more Israelite. I'm not looking at them like they're different. I mean, you don't even know if I have Israelite in me compared to some people. Why do some people have more melanoid oil on their skin? You know, why are some people have little tiny boobs? Why do somebody have perky boobs? And why do I have big chubby cheeks? Why do some people, you know, there's different trades as far as everybody being similar, but there are certain trades that kind of in the DNA as far as futures and observing, you'll notice that we all have differences, you know. For instance, my family, a lot of the men usually have this double chin from chubbiness under the neck. So, you know, that's something that's in our family. You'll notice some people that have shorter necks or longer necks, you know. Some people's, you know, like, we're all built different, and it's not from just everyone comes out different. There's many reasons and speculations on why we all come out different. Different species mixed with humanoid, or, you know, Homo sapien. You have people that have been infected with this plague, as far as science being a form of magic, and magic, you know, can either be positive, neutral, or negative. You could have good organic magic, neutral, which isn't hurting anybody, and it's not negative. It's just like neutral. I mean, I don't really know too much about that. I don't like it, because even neutral doesn't mean it's completely good, like organic. So you have that, and then you have dark magic, and everyone's been living off of heresy for a long time. I mean, if you're still giving people the gas chamber, the hanging, the electric chair, and now this new thing where they're pulling off heads for, you know, the death sentence. All of that is very, very sick, because if, for instance, you look in the movie The Witches Season, you'll see where every time Nicolas Cage, well, he gets mad that he kills a bunch of women in a castle because it was all dark and smoky, and when they barged in, some of them were trying to fight back with brooms, and they were scared. So he started swinging away with his coworker, or, you know, friend, that are like those holy knights and whatnot. And the proof that I have, as far as it making sense, is when you watch that movie and he throws his helmet down and he says, you know, I fight for God, not for this. And the guy's like, mind your tongue. Right before he throws his helmet down, the guy says a great number of sacrifices for my God. You get what I'm saying? That right there lets you know that was a tiny little hidden subliminal message that there's some wicked sacrificing stuff, because movies don't lie as far as the truth that is trying to replicate what really happened, as far as making a movie that realistic. You know, when you're talking about Vietnam War, you know that you're going to look back into everything that was Vietnam in order to find out their language, their clothing style, what they were growing and farming, where the soldiers of this place or that place entered their island and, you know, try to dominate, but then got taken out. You'll know what weapons they used. You want to be on perfect hit as far as identical. So with so much that they can't do that's identical, I mean, you see people talking about that, you know, the witches, but you don't see it. Well, the eye doesn't see a lot of things as far as like psychedelics, as far as the paranormal. The eyes are naked, you know. You have to have like a higher sense, a sixth sense, trauma, somebody died, you came back. I mean, this is all very, very realistic. And when it comes to that, you know, being a spiritual advisor, you can't be a spiritual advisor like a spirit coach. You can't be one of those unless you had over 20 years of pain and suffering in a certain sense while trying to focus and meditate. You know what I mean? It's very hard. There's not too many of us that can go through that, because if you look at my other videos, you'll see sometimes it's like, this boy's crazy. He don't know what he's talking about. But that was from when I was younger. That's when I was trying to do music. That's when I was trying to talk about environment. And, that was all on point too. But other than that, I'm now trying to talk about stuff that is really eye-opening, as far as no longer be naked, the naked eye. We originally were naked and were innocent, and now we have changed places with our eyes, for yet we are completely clothed, but completely blind. Yeah, that's beautiful, right? Thank you. The thing about these groups that's on Facebook and other groups, I mean, you could go on all kinds of apps, and there's all these groups where it's either science, getting together, mingling. You get to ones where it's all sports. You get to ones where it's all about fishing and just conversating, like, you got all kinds of groups for everything. And as for me, I'm trying to learn science more than what people say I know, because for having a small background with small parts of education that was advancing, it's still not enough for those that have completely went through all these schoolings, and for some reason think there's a higher understanding in their part than anybody else, or those that were locked up and read a lot. Those that got some certificates in a prison and they're like expensive to get out on the streets. So many different things will try to debar you from being level or higher of knowledge, So with me being homeless so many times, with me believing in there's some type of God, even if I wasn't sure about which was what at first, I still was native, believing in a circle of life and creation, as far as, what is my purpose. And I went through all of that very seriously. Then later on, when I said, hey, I'm going to give it a go, try to figure out what's wrong with this part in order to get rid of this problem, and that person should have never got that, because that person seemed like a great person, teaching people back in the day, and, passed away at 33 on a cross, and, whoop-de-whoop, I was just thinking about other people lots, and I got really intelligent. So this whole 13 minutes already passing on this video. It's just to demonstrate that there's too many satanic occults that are secretly trying to keep you from ever thinking about God. And they'd rather have you think about science only. And literally, the comments that I wrote back to, the professor or creator of the group literally wrote, God has nothing to do with this. There's no way that our God, as far as creation, as far as all of us living, as far as all of us having a pulse, food that grows from the earth that is still good. And like I've said in my other videos, the food used to be so much more pure with nutrients and aminos and vitamins, and now they're just really kind of weak. It's like when in the old days you could eat an apple or two, and that would give you like 2 days worth of high energy, without needing to eat another apple. Today, you could eat like 2-3 apples and it only gives you energy for like 5 hours. You know what I'm saying? You could eat things like carrots, and because they're not raw, a lot of times I eat them raw. I love carrots. But because you have to boil them, because you have to put them in the air fryer, which is electricity, it takes a super big amount of aminos out of your vegetables, out of your fruit, out of all your vitamins, So those type of things I try to teach and reach people. And if you're not spiritually awake and alert and aware and observant and keeping tabs on things in order to stay safe and keep others safe, then you will not pay attention to those type of things. And somehow your world will always be that matrix where, just like in a video game, the character can pick up a freaking piece of apple and it shows like 10 points. Okay, yeah, you increased your energy when really you didn't. That's the part about 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D. Everybody gets lost in translation and really is not aware of what their environment has become. But don't ever let anybody tell you that spirituality is only religion. Spirituality is mind and body, you know? So, spirit is mind, body, and spirit, but without spirit, you wouldn't have mind or body. Thank you.